Hello, everybody. This is Morgan Faith Harrell, founder of Face Aesthetics and the host of my podcast, Peach Ties. We're about to get ready to go behind the scenes of some of your favorite blockbusters with a man who's taking the hits so your heroes could shine. From The Walking Dead to Avatar, this man has faced it all from flames to falls to fights to zombies too. He's an actor, producer, stuntman, and legend in the action world. Please welcome to my guest, Casey Hendershot. It's an honor to meet you, sir.
Nice to meet you.
Yes. Yes. Happy belated birthday, by the way. You're Cancer like I am. Late June. All right. I just want to say you have over 130 IMDb credits. I mean, wow, that's just impressive on its own. Like, did you ever think that before you started a freshman majoring in theater, did you think that you'd ever be here today with your career?
Probably not. It's something that I hoped was going to happen and that I was going to work to make happen. Yeah, I don't think I would have thought back then that I'd get a pension.
Wow. And like just naming some of your credits and not all. We have Lovecraft Country. I mean, that's like one of my biggest HBO shows. I mean, Bad Boys for Life, Thor, The Longest Yard, Westworld, Ant-Man, and The Wasp, Miss Marvel. So you have done everything for superheroes to Marvel. Like, how does that feel to be able to handle so much pressure with your profession?
Just fortunate that, I've been able to work on some really fun films with a lot of really cool people and really talented stunt professionals that are way more talented than me. I'm just a big goon. There are some people in these like superhero movies that, do the real stunts and the flying, and I just get beat up and fall down.
And I know that, like, of course, you grew up. You always had like a big family around you, and I just want to say, what was it like growing up for you in New Jersey?
I grew up in rural New Jersey, in a little town of Blairstown, but for hunting and fishing, that's all I did, and played sports. You played sports and you fished, and we were little. We had hicks up there. We don't have rednecks up in Jersey. We got hicks. So I was a little. Just FYI.
Wow, and it's 60 miles away from New York.
Yeah.
So you grew up going to see different plays. I mean, what was that like developing like your own imagination page?
I did, but that all came later for me. I wasn't, as a kid, you had to drag me into New York City.
Right.
Like my mom would take us in to see plays. I could kind of care less. It wasn't until I got the bug at college.
Right.
Yeah.
So you go to college in South Carolina at USC Aiken, and you double majored actually. Theater being the big focus. So you actually started getting the acting bug when you did the elective, and you were stumbled into a class, and you saw different actors on stage, and you just looked at them and said, you know what? I think I can do that, but better. So tell me about that happy accident.
That's crazy that you know that. Yeah, just college theater. You see people doing something on there for extra credit, and I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, I can do that. And then it's like, well, put your money where your mouth is, go up and get even more extra credit and do this little monologue. And I did it. And then the next day, the director, who I could strangle him to this day, cast me in Our Town, which is like a fun play, but it's for a newbie, it was kind of tough, but it was super fun. And I got the bug from there, and it was pretty much on from there. I kind of knew what I wanted to do.
Exactly. So basically, that was like one of the best accidents that could ever happen to you. It fell into your purpose. So you trained and you developed your craft in acting. You graduated and you still continued your education before you went to LA.
Correct.
Okay, tell me about that transition.
I did like summer stock theater in West Virginia, things like that. But then, those of you that know Burt Reynolds, there was a theater down in Florida, the Burt Reynolds Institute of Theater Training. I went down there in 94, 95, and Burt was there all the time. So he was kind of a teacher, and it was really cool. And like Dom DeLuise and, all kinds of crazy actors would come down there and just teach us class. Like Dom DeLuise and Charles Durning, really fun, amazing legends, So to learn from them, and then because of that, I was Bert's assistant later for 6 years. So, really cool experience.
Wow. So you're an actor first at heart. And of course, with any artist, you're being very versatile and learning with stunts. So what was it that you knew that, you know what, I'm an amazing actor, but I want to put that energy into my stunt work? Because you did live shows and we're doing some film and television.
Yeah, I did live shows like you'd go to Universal Studios or something like that. You'd see a stunt show. I did Waterworld at Universal Studios for 7 years. And Knott's Berry Farm Wild West stunt show in LA for years, and so that was kind of my introduction to it, introduction to stunts. And then I had buddies that were at the time really semi working in the business, and I thought, why not? I can fall down too.
Right. So now that we're here today, you develop all of your credits, and I'm a choreographer. So when I see stunts, I see that you are using your movement to tell a story.
Sure.
So tell me, what kind of training and preparation goes into performing stunts safely?
Well, depending on the stunt,
Mm-hmm.
like say, most recently I was fortunate to work on Tulsa King, and we did what was a previs to a. I don't want to give it. I can't give anything. Well, I'll get in trouble. But like, the good guys were coming in to wipe out us bad guys, and we rehearsed this whole scenario.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a lot of explosions and gunfire, and not necessarily too much fights because they just wiped the floor with us. But we took a week to do film what's called a previs, a pre-visualization of this on set, and you kind of show with the stunt guys, and you film it, kind of like how production's going to film it, where their cameras are going to be, and then the stunt, probably assistant, edits it, shows it to the production, and then basically shows it to Stallone for the thumbs up, basically, and he gives them. They'll say, "No, take that out, take this out."
Mhm.
So yeah. So that's so when you're filming one of those, that's kind of when you're ironing out the safety issues. Like there were a couple high falls, so we had to figure out how many you like you make a box rig for a high fall, so like boxes that you would pack your stuff in. That's what we fall into because it's better. A lot of times, it's better than pads. So we had to figure out, okay, this guy's doing a 20-foot high fall. How many boxes do we need for this particular thing? How many? You know, just you're just figuring out. Well, I need a pad for a fall here and things like that. So.
Wow. And so with in horror films, I could see a lot of it's about tension, the fear that you can project in front of the camera so carefully. So with like how does stunt work help elevate that suspense for the audience?
I would say, how does stunt work elevate the suspense for the audience? That's an interesting question. Well, I will say, like as stuntmen, we're definitely into story. We got to figure out, like, we want to, if we're doubling somebody, we want to make sure we're kind of walking the way they are or doing what they do. But we're focused on the stunt. You know what I mean? So that's it, to build any suspense. I think we're just trying to do, what any actor would do too. Just like, be part of the world and be present in the world that you're working in.
That's very a great perspective. So, of course, a lot of people know about The Walking Dead. Just like it's huge fan base. I mean, even like, of course, in Atlanta, like years ago, before it's like the big hole that it is now, The Walking Dead was like, you had a lot of big fans. To this day, people are still having their own fan stories. So, tell me like your experience working on that set with like a huge fan base, and like tell me some behind the scenes stories.
Well, I will say, I had a fun time. I was one of the wolves that attacked Alexandria, and then I attacked the little. I wish I could remember the actress. Her actual name is Tova. She was the mayor of Alexandria. She's a little woman, and I attacked her, and it was a fun scene. But the cool part of that particular day was after I was done. There's blood everywhere. I'm going into my trailer, or the makeup trailer, to get out of, because they kind of wipe it down, when you got blood and stuff all over you. And Norman Reedus is walking out at the same time as I'm walking, and I didn't work with him. But he's like, "Hey, big guy," and he kind of walks by me, and there's one of the producers right with him going, "Norman, you can't do this." And I don't know what they're talking about until across the street there are probably 150 fans, and Norman Reedus is going to greet his fans, right? I mean, they're just bread and butter, like any of us. And the producer probably was trying to get him not to do that. Norman was over there. It took them an hour to get me out of all prosthetics and stuff. He was still over there with that, like so. Like the dude knows where his bread is buttered, and I just thought that was a really cool thing to see from one of the couple biggest stars on the show.
Wow, and it's crazy because I grew up loving horror. My family actually growing up with it, but that's okay. I feel like horror tells the truth in a realistic way that people. That's I think that's what people are scared of is the truth, but that's actually what's horrific. So going through a different production. So you're 6'6", am I correct? That's your height. Kevin Hart is 5'5". So like working with like the women's stunts would get hard with Will Ferrell. I mean, I know that was like a treat.
Yeah, that was one of my more fun gigs. Just a good group of stunt guys. Kevin Hart and Will Ferrell, like they were both super fun. Especially honestly, especially Will, like super nice guy. Kevin Hart is like a pro, man. Like he's working on his next thing as he's working. Like he's got his phone there, he's talking to his guys, and then we're rolling. Like the dude is constantly working. And Will was super fun, and that was just a fun game. Fun game.
Yeah, I definitely heard that. And Kevin Hart's a cancer as well, so it runs into the blood. Yes, I was interviewing. He has a show called Fight Night. I interviewed one of his actors, Dwayne Boyd, and he also said, he's one of the hardest working men in the
I
business.
can see why.
Yes, and he really does help people. So I really love that you had a great experience. So, okay, so with the Halloween, right, the different movies, I was going through the different scenes, right, and you're jumping out the window, breaking glass. I know that you probably weren't scared because, you're fearless, but I understand that it was a lot of preparation to make sure that stunt was done correctly. So tell me, did it feel weird when you got cast for the part and you put the mask on? Did it feel weird to you?
It was really good cast for the part. Now, like I got called from the stunt coordinator to say, "Hey, I need you to double Tyler Mane, who's the actual Michael Myers." But I do remember going, "Hey," because a friend of mine was Tyler Mane's double, and who's even a larger goon than I am, and I said, "Hey, my buddy is his double," and he goes, "Oh, Tyler's gotten a lot skinnier. You're a better double now." I'm like, "Okay, okay," but yeah, I gone off on a tangent there.
Wow. So, of course, it's Halloween is like, of course, a horror genre itself where it's going to be timeless. When we leave this earth, it's always going to be there, right? So, tell me, like, what are like your favorite horror films?
Well, besides Halloween, I have to say that, but I definitely still love them. But I'm a big my favorite horror film is Army of Darkness because of the comedy. I mean, Bruce Campbell is awesome. And I got to work with him on Burn Notice one time years ago, so that was cool. So, but like Army of Darkness that has the comedy and it's a trick, get an axe, it's the best.
Definitely like realistic storytelling. I think for me, I think the best, in my opinion, the best horror film of all time for me is The Strangers. Because they shot it so simply, but it's very effective how they were able to capture horror. Because anybody that's breaking into your house, you can be scared for your life, right? Trying to protect your loved ones. So I remember when I watched The Strangers, I didn't turn off my lights in my room for about a month. So I love how horror is able to capture people's fears because it can happen to everyday life. There's Mike and Mike who's running around the earth right now. So that's really good. So I know it's like my name is Morgan, but what is like the experience of like even meeting Morgan Freeman? I heard.
I unfortunately didn't work with him. But I was on set on Million Dollar Baby one time when I was Burt Reynolds' assistant. And if you've seen The Unforgiven, the Western, he uses my last name, which is Hendershot, as his alias. So back in 1993, I'm like, if I ever meet Clint Eastwood, I need to find this out. So Burt, when I'm working for Burt, we go to he's like, hey, we're going to go to Clint's new set. And I'm like, Eastwood? He's like, yeah. So I'm like, okay. So we go to Million Dollar Baby set, and Morgan Freeman and Burt had never met. So they're walking, and I'm standing there like an idiot going, wow, Morgan Freeman, that's amazing. And then he's legit like 6, almost 5. He's a tall man. He's taller than Clint. Clint walks up, and I'm with these three legends. And then I'm like, Mr. Eastwood, I've always wanted to ask you this. And he's like, Clint. I'm like, yes, Clint. In Unforgiven, you use Hendershot as the alias. I was always wondering if there was a story. It's my last name. So he said, that's great. He goes, it's a writer situation. He goes, but I remember that. And then he starts going on how Unforgiven was his favorite movie that he directed. And then Morgan Freeman, who was wrapped, extends his hand to me because he was leaving and I had met him. And I'm like, Mr. Freeman, it's a pleasure to meet you. My name's Casey Hendershot. And he was also in Unforgiven. And he squeezes my hand and he looks at Clint and he goes, he stole your name, son. And I'm like, yes, sir. Yes, he did. And it was just awesome. We walk away and even Bert was like, Clint's not going to forget that. And I'm like, what are you talking about, Bert? I'm not going to forget that.
Yes. Wow, lucky man you. So also you're a producer, an associate producer.
Yeah.
Wow, and I understand like the productions of your profession, a lot of indies are involved. And I just want to know, is there anything you want people to know about an upcoming production that you're associating with producing?
Well, I mostly, it's in the ether. It's one of those that's kind of like we're still trying, we're still plugging away, but yeah, it's just one of those things that's stuck in the mud right now.
Well, that's amazing. So I remember being a kid and Avatar was, a lot of trailers. It was like one of the highest grossing movies of all time. I remember the theater was all sold out for like, 2 weeks straight. So you had the privilege of working on that movie. So of course the prosthetics, the makeup, I know it's a very beautiful story. But how was I able to articulate the stunts for the movie?
Well, I did what's called motion capture, where you wear basically tights with the balls, on them. And I did right at the end of the movie, when the female Avatar girl is riding that panther. From the time that panther gets killed through the fight till the time that blade goes into the war machine and he throws it at the trailer. I did that whole fight as the war machine. So no prosthetics in that particular scene because in Avatar, everyone was in they just had dots on their face, and it was all animation after the fact. But I remember just on the day working it, just being amazed, wow, I'm working with James Cameron. This is so cool. He's the top of the food chain, So he was a cool dude. I will say he's tough on his nerds. He was he was tough on his nerds. He was really nice to his stunt guys, but God bless him.
Wow. And too, like with Marvel, I'm a big Marvel fan. I went to go see Superman. It was pretty awesome. I don't like the comparison though, how they're comparing this Superman to Henry Cavill, because why can't we all just be great, right? So for Ant-Man and the Wasp, I know there was a lot of action packed. And I love animals, so I like how they did the different motions and special effects. So tell me about the Marvel process, because I know them NDAs were crazy.
Yeah, well, Marvel's a whole different thing. And NDAs and the biggest Marvel thing that I worked on was the original Thor. I was one of the Frost Giants, so that's Ant-Man. I think my scene even got cut from what I can remember. But Marvel's just you have to fit their storyline. They've got what they want. And, not that as a stunt guy, I was going to try to veer off and do anything crazy. But, you got to stay in their lane, for sure. But I always feel super privileged to work on a Marvel show.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, where you are right now in your life, and has there ever been, well, of course there's more, but has there ever been your most favorite project?
Most favorite project? Geez. I've been real fortunate. I honestly couldn't tell you. I honestly could. I worked, there's a show Fallout Season 2 that's coming out in a couple months. I worked on that and got to be part of the season finale, so you'll see my big mug in that. But that was real fun getting to work with Walton Goggins and Kyle McLaughlin and so that kind of stuff. But I couldn't tell you my favorite.
Right, because you're living your dream, and when you do something that you love every day, it doesn't feel like work to you.
Yeah. for certain. Now the thing is, it's like you never know when your next job is coming. So you live your dream when you're working.
Right. And with the whole industry itself is about being a risk taker. There's some people who talk about doing this, doing that, but there's people that's actually being a doer. You've always been a doer. And, some people are scared to take risks because they don't have that faith. So what have your faith taught you and have your faith been tested as a stunt actor?
Yeah, I just, you try to be the best person you can be on set, like, and be a team player when you're doing something that's difficult, when you're doing maybe something that might be dangerous. Uh, dot your I's, cross your T's. And sometimes, like, even if you believe in the coordinator that you're working with, you got to self-coordinate yourself and make sure what you're doing is safe and that you feel like pull it off.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's beautiful words. So if there's someone that's listening to my podcast right now, right, thinking can't be a stuntman or an actor or an artist or taking an unconventional path because of their size or having self-doubt, what advice would you give them?
To get into entertainment? You mean
entertainment or life in general? It's a stuntman.
Oh.
Stuntman first.
Oh, well, just you have to work on your physical self, try to keep in shape, but also there are certain skills that people have, like maybe you were a gymnast, but like everybody's got to work on certain fight skills or high falls and things like that, because you're going to run into it one day where you're going to have to do something out of your comfort zone.
Wow. And last question too, because stunt work is very physically demanding and you're always in shape, but the mental health, a lot of men don't really talk about their mental health, but for you, what is something that you use to be happy, to be not only fit but mentally healthy?
It's funny, the app Marco Polo? Okay, it's like a video, kind of like a video chat app almost. Well, there's a group of probably 15 stunt guys that I'm in this video chat. We've been doing this before COVID. And it's just like, we just get on there and sometimes we talk a little crap, we call it the Shark Tank. But we have helped each other over the years. Like during COVID when the riots were happening, my buddy in Norman, Oklahoma is a cop. We all pulled together and got a new gear because, what I mean? So it's like, these were the first guys I told when my dad passed away. You know what I mean? So like, that's been therapy for me. I don't know. I'm getting real crazy. Yeah.
Wow, that's beautiful. Thank you for your vulnerability and your time. This segment is over for our podcast segment. So I'm actually going to open up to the floor. If anyone had any Q&A questions, this is your opportunity to ask. So if anyone has any questions at all? You have a question? All right, come over here. Come up here for a second, sir. Hello. I love your outfit. Okay, Jason Voorhees. Come through. All right, I'm gonna give you the microphone. So I'm just going ahead and say your name, yes, your name, your age, and I'm giving your question.
My name is Akeem. I'm 38. Question that I have is being stuck there. Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now? Okay, so being a stunt man, is that something that you actually, when you're preparing for a scene, do you think to yourself like, okay, this might not be a good idea about to do? Or is it just, okay, this is what I'm doing, this is my job, and I'm just gonna go straight ahead?
As long as there have been a small handful of times I've been like, this might hurt, or, it could be dangerous, like a particular high fall, but it's like, you just go through it. You kind of walk through the steps like that you're going to take, whether it's like I jumped through a window through a 25-foot fall with a mask on. I could barely see, but like you rehearse it as many times as you can. And look, if you don't feel comfortable doing something, and I've never done this on the day on set, but I have turned down a couple of things when offered. When they were offered to me, I was like, you know what? Get a younger guy to do that because that's gonna kill him. So I have turned things down, but thanks for the question.
That's a great question. And wow, that's very a different perspective, saying no. when you need to say no, because you know that can be a death issue, hurting you physically. Any more questions? Any more questions from the audience for Casey Hendershot before we close for our next guest? Last chance, last chance. Okay, all right. So, Casey, thank you so much for being a guest on my podcast, Peach Ties. You can definitely talk to Casey. He has his paper over there. And yes, you guys, remember, be kind, be sweet, and it's always going to be Georgia Peach. Bye bye.
Bye bye.